Welcome to Home Remodeler Toolbox, the podcast dedicated to empowering remodelers and builders to build and grow successful businesses. Join your host, Bob Vance, founder of Home Remodeler SEO, as he brings you industry insights and strategies that will help you build a thriving business, no matter what level you're at in your business. Whether you're a thriving multi-million-dollar business or you're working on building your business from the foundation up, this podcast is your go-to source for industry secrets and actionable strategies that you can implement in your business to get to that next level. So, turn on, tune in, and let's help you build your business foundation one building block at a time.
Welcome back to the Home Remodeler Toolbox Podcast. Today we're joined by Kristen Harper and Michelle Flores, the powerhouse duo behind Remodel Boutique, a female-owned design-build firm making serious waves in Austin, Texas. What started as a creative side hustle quickly evolved into a full-scale, award-winning firm known for thoughtful spaces, inclusive values, and a client-first approach. Kristen brings the design vision and family-focused functionality, while Michelle leads construction operations with sharp project management and a boots-on-the-ground mindset. Together, they've built more than just beautiful homes. They've created a business that empowers women, embraces technology, and proves that passion and perseverance can take you further than a degree ever could. Let's dive in. Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to the show today. I have Kristen Harper and Michelle Flores from Remodel Boutique in the Austin, Texas area with us today. Ladies, how are you guys doing today?
We are doing amazing. How are you, Bob?
Doing great, doing great. Really happy to have you guys on the show today. Not often that we get two female entrepreneur owners of a business, so I'm really looking forward to diving into that with you all. But to start out, would you give our audience just kind of a little bit of a background on how you all got started and kind of what was the initial vision for your company?
Sure. You want to start?
It would be we would be misleading people if we said we had a vision for a company. So when we started, there was really no vision to start a remodeling company. We kind of fell into it. We started in the investment world, and that that our home sold for highest price per square foot. There were least days on the market, and we wound up getting having a lot of people contact us directly and ask, "Oh, hey, we really like what you're doing. Can you do this for us?" And so that kind of wound up, parlaying into what we do now.
Yeah, I really wanted to, focus. I really wanted to get into like real estate and design and investment homes at first. And Michelle was just a really perfect fit to kind of take the construction side. She speaks Spanish. And so naturally, she kind of led the construction side while I was able to kind of dive into the creative side. And we just kind of meshed very well that way. And it kind of led us down in investment homes. And then, like she said, remodeling kind of in the off season, to keep the crews busy. And that's just kind of how it started. And it snowballed from there.
Oh, wow. Great. So, I mean, initially real estate investing, fix and flips, things like that. And then eventually word got out about these two amazing entrepreneurs in the Austin area that were just doing fantastic remodeling work. Yep. The word's out now, ladies.
Exactly right. We actually don't. This is the first year we're going to start incorporating marketing, but thank goodness for the last 15 years, we have not had to market. It's been all word of mouth generated. We've grown from, like you said, fix and flips to, almost doing what,
Probably 80%. Most of our business is remodeling right now. So a few investment developments now, really longer term kind of things. But most of everything is remodeling, and that's what we're focusing our energy on and building. So yeah, remodeling is definitely our number one priority right now.
Okay. What all types of remodeling do you guys offer?
We do everything from, whole house remodels to reconfigurations, additions, ADUs, or what other folks call granny flats or whatever, additional units, and to new construction up the ground to multiple units on a property. So
We don't do a lot of commercial, mostly residential. Yeah, mostly residential, in the Austin area, more urban. We don't like to travel that far, but we pretty much do everything and anything.
And I think if I had to pick, I think my favorite thing to do are interior remodels with reconfigurations. I think it's a lot of fun for us to be able to go into someone's space and try to help them reimagine and reallocate where they need the space. And so I think that's that's
And
what
that
I
and that's how we started by trying to in flipping and investment homes, you're always trying to save money. So you have to think more creatively. You have to think more outside the box. You're trying not to move as many walls. You're trying to work with what you have. That kind of is what parlayed us into kind of our remodeling aesthetic, which is to kind of keep the soul of the home. We're trying not to demolish homes and build new. We're really trying to work within the confines of the house that's already there. And it's also, once we started doing a few new builds, I was like, wow, that was much easier
oh,
than
for
trying to
sure.
recreate and make a space efficient inside an already, set home. So it definitely, I think we started off the hard way for sure.
And I think it's been helpful too because going being in that world, we work with very distressed homes usually, sometimes buying them sight unseen, or you have very little time to assess a home. And
Yep.
it made us really efficient and at being able to assess what's wrong with a home. Immediately, you're able to go there. Up, there's going to be termite damage here. There's going to be mold damage here. You're going to need all these dependencies to be able to remodel. So it actually helped really refined our bidding process to where it helps us stay within budget and have a really accurate idea of what you can expect when you start moving things and opening up walls.
Absolutely. Have you come across any particular challenges that stand out in your mind when it comes to those bigger projects, moving walls and having to put new support beams in, things like that, that just aren't your cookie cutter kind of bathroom or kitchen remodel?
I mean, none of them are. I don't think there's anything that we would call unusual, and maybe it's just because now it's become part of what we do. I mean, having put in a 50-foot beam, into a space and remove all your walls isn't that unusual. I think it feels scary, for a lot of folks and homeowners when they don't have an idea of what's there and or when you're first starting in the industry. But I mean, really, every project's pretty much the same with, a couple of little tweaks in there. The length of the beam sometimes doesn't matter that much. It's planning, the planning that comes up to it to make sure that we're executing properly.
Right, right. And Kristen, you're the lead designer for the company.
Yes.
And so you work with the homeowners directly, kind of help them articulate their vision and then, throw in your creative ideas and the experience you have to really help them see what's going to happen with this remodel. How will it work for them in terms of form and function as well as aesthetics?
Yeah, for sure. I think when we first started out, it was more kind of designing for myself and where I was in life because they were investment homes. And as we started growing and doing remodeling for other families, it turned into, okay, what do you envision? What do you need? What are your, what are your pain points? And then as we've aged, I feel like our clientele has aged and I became a mom and a parent. And my entire point of view of the home and how it functions changed. I think almost all of our clients, I would say 99% of them have families or are gonna have children. And so that's really helped in designing for families. So that's a huge chunk of our clientele, and that has definitely shaped the way we kind of design. And I work with clients as well.
We also try to work backwards. So a lot of the way that process looks like is, I'll do the initial evaluation with folks, kind of play Tetris right then and there, where I try to help value engineer what it is that we can do. And then we try to work together to work within people's budgets versus the other way around. It's not helpful. We can create amazing things for every single one of every single person, but is that realistic within their budget? Can they afford that? No. So typically it makes sense a little bit more for us to say, hey, what is it that we're trying to work with? What are our priorities? And how can we work together creatively to value engineer this and make it look pretty?
Yeah, absolutely. I like that you mentioned that because I talk about that a lot in marketing where you don't really want to start with your budget. You want to start with your goals and then see if they match up or not. Like you said, kind of reverse engineering that and creating that project and what it's going to look like and then say, now can we pull it off? as opposed to saying, well, this is my budget and these are my dreams. Well, those probably may not match up very well.
Don't align.
Yeah, yeah, big gap in there.
Well, yeah, you want that, you want the hidden pantry, which everybody wants right now. I'm all like, but your bathroom isn't flushing. So like what, should we fix the plumbing or what? So but that's our job. That's our job in the industry to kind of help people through that process.
Right, right. Walk them through it because they don't know what they don't know. That's why they count on you as the experts and all the experience that you guys have.
Correct.
For sure.
Yeah. What are you guys doing currently to stay ahead in terms of trends and different innovations going on in the remodeling world?
As far as on the design side,
Whether it be design, whether it be technology, just what are you guys seeing out there, and how do you stay ahead of that in terms of maybe what homeowners want, or maybe how do you run your company more efficiently or more effectively, or both?
you know,
Yeah.
I guess I don't know. Maybe I don't want to speak for Kristen since she's responsible for design, but I feel like we don't pay attention to trends all that much. I think that there's things that we're gonna see. Oh, like I mentioned the hidden pantry recently. Oh, cool, right? I think there's the people are gonna come to us with trends and things that they want, but our goal and our focus is usually, I think, what would be the word, pragmatic or practical. It's we're focused on how can we improve your lives and your space versus what's the next trendiest thing.
Plus, I mean, trends come and goes, and they're usually not anything new. I remember being so excited all the time that I came up with this design or this or that, throughout my life. Wow, look at I came up with this all by myself, and then realizing, well, that really wasn't something that hasn't been done before. So everything's been done before. A trend now is color drenching. Like that's been done forever, right? I mean, there's really no for all intents and purposes, there's no really new ideas per se. It's just kind of what is trending in that moment. So I'm really not huge into staying on top of trends like she's saying. But to be fair, the trends, we just color drench a kitchen, right? The client saw that on a magazine, but we've been doing that forever. So it really is just kind of knowing good design and what's aesthetically pleasing and being able to stay true to that as far as design goes.
Michelle?
But as far as like our company and trends right now, I think, we have jumped on the AI bandwagon a bit, trying to incorporate.
Well, AI is trending right now, but that's irrelevant, right? It's been around for a bit, and it is something that it's not a trend to jump on or off. You're either going to be left behind or you need to get with it. There is no way you can scale and grow a company the way at least we want to without utilizing AI, utilizing softwares and platforms. We use a lot of open platforms, so they connect and they, exchange information between each other. And that has been huge with our clients, especially during COVID, where we started doing a lot of stuff virtually. Clients didn't want us in their homes, and it really wasn't a huge hurdle for us because we had already been working with software and applications for a while. And so we've just kind of grown on that and kept building and building. Some people kick and scream from a different generation, but we definitely are, I would say, ahead of the game in using technology to have a better client experience and to also hone our operations in-house, for sure.
Okay. And so you're using AI for the customer experience side, customer facing side, but you're also incorporating more AI tools and technology and kind of, tips and hacks for helping you streamline your operations, make those more efficient as well.
Yes, we do AI. We use it for our meetings internally as well as client meetings, walkthroughs. We have it synced to our project management system, Monday.com, which gives us action items at the end of those walkthroughs, let's say, or meetings. Those automatically get sent to the person that they need to be sent to. So, I mean, basically, there's a thing called, what's it called? NPTs. And I learned about this just this year. They're called non-promotable tasks. And those have primarily fallen on women. Things like when you're in a meeting, you have to take notes. Somebody has to take notes, right? Usually the woman will do that. You do not get promoted. You do not get extra credit. You do not get any accolades in your job for doing those things, yet they need to be done. And it is the way all businesses can function and move forward. You have to have them. AI has allowed all of us internally and leadership especially to be able to not have to designate someone to do that, which was usually our operations person, Kelly. And now we have AI doing it. And so she's free to actually do the things that we hired her for, which is to use her brain and to help us in our operations of the business. So that was just very eye-opening to me when I learned about that. And especially because we're mostly all women that work at Remodel Boutique. So yeah.
But even like anywhere from the bidding process, you're able to incorporate AI now to where you can take a scan of the home. We can go ahead and quickly take that scan and now come home. And if we have square footage, we have a floor plan, we can now upload that floor plan and manipulate that floor plan real quickly. We can put that into, the database that we've created based on past history so that we can quickly create a price per square foot. I mean, it's just, there's the possible, and we're not even doing, I think, an amazing job of, incorporating into our business as much.
For the industry, I would say we are, but is there like so much room to grow? Heck yeah. Yes. It's like, it is so, I'm just excited for the possibilities and what we're like can tap into because we've just really, I feel, brushed the surface.
Yeah. Agreed.
And it's made such a drastic difference just in time management, in giving people in the business, the open ability to do what they want to do and help out the way they can help out and lead the way they need to lead because they're not wasting their times doing all these menial NPTs, if you will.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, they've got to be done. And so, do you have that person do it or you just let AI take over for you? That Zoom, the Zoom calls, having the note taker in there summarizes your whole meeting, everything. One thing we do too is like we challenge everyone in our company to bring something new to the table that's related to AI. And so that might be something that you can start, sharing with like Elizabeth, your operations office manager, I think, and other people to say, how can you bring more AI into the company to make us more effective? And the more you keep challenging yourself, the further you stay ahead of the pack, because like you said, you're doing a lot. You're probably well ahead of, 90% of the companies out there, but yet there's still so much to learn too, so much more that you can incorporate as AI keeps advancing.
I love that you guys do that because we do try to foster, encourage an environment where everyone is responsible or has the ability to change our processes
Yeah, I always say like the best part of working for a small business is you have the opportunity to make changes yourself to that business. The worst part about working for a small business is you have the ability to make changes. And it's a double-edged sword sometimes. You do have, sometimes I'm like, listen, we talked about this SOP, like go ahead and do it. It's not going to be written down in a manual, bound and spiraled for you.
like that. There's AI now that will help us write our SOC and follow them. And it's getting like, it's kind of nuts when you start thinking about it.
That's true.
Yeah, I love AI for SOPs. You give it the outline, it fills it in or it refines it, cleans it up for you. We've been doing that. We've got hundreds of SOPs and AI just makes them better and better. Easy use of it, not too complicated. Anyone can learn it. It's not beyond, anyone's technological means. You just got to kind of play with it and practice with it.
Yep.
Yeah, if you're not doing it, it's just a matter of not wanting to do it. Everybody can do it. No matter your age, you can definitely do it.
I like hearing that. Hopefully people hear that, listening to this podcast and get inspired and say, well, they're doing it. Everyone's doing it. I got to give it a try. Don't be that late adopter. I had a friend that was really proud of never getting a cell phone once, back in the 90s. And we just thought, what are you trying to prove here? And I think the same thing, people are like, oh, AI, I don't want to do it, or it's going to be a passing fad or what, no, it's here to stay, like you said earlier.
And there's also, if like you're using something and it's not working for you, it doesn't feel user friendly, doesn't feel intuitive. The awesome thing is that there's like 5 other different systems or platforms you can go try until you find one that like you and that you like working or makes sense. So I think that's also like, shouldn't discourage people. That's not working, but try a different one.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You kind of to take the conversation in a different direction. What are as female entrepreneurs, female business owners in the remodeling industry, minority owners as well? What are some of the misconceptions that you hear about or you think really surround that you guys can't be doing what you're doing now? Do you hear a lot of that? Do you face that a lot? In the industry or see that or hear it or have direct experiences with it?
I mean, being women in this industry, I mean, especially in construction, it does come with more objectification, microaggression, as our construction manager puts it. When I kind of we talk about this on the side a lot more in commercial. For example, our construction manager Elizabeth Passmore, she was just saying in commercial she faced a lot more of that kind of microaggression from her colleagues. Now residential is not as much. I don't know also if that's who we attract. We're obviously very obviously women, we're POC, we're LGBTQIA friendly. So I don't know. I think we do attract a certain clientele. But I think it's also after a while, like you just have to earn the trust. It takes a little longer and should it be like that? No. Is it? Yes. But once you've earned that trust and you can show people that you know what you're doing, and that you're legitimate, I think that's when people start to trust and respect you. And I think that's kind of the hurdle that you just have to kind of get over it, prove yourself, move along, you can do it. Other people have done it. And yeah, Michelle really can speak more to that because in the construction
Girl.
because White River Sue in construction world, it's a little different, obviously, than in the design world. I'm not over there overseeing, 99% of a male workforce, right? I'm not doing that. Michelle and Elizabeth are doing it. So I do think that Michelle has a different kind of perspective on this.
I think that exists. It definitely is there. But I think what we've done is we've made a choice to say, you're going to treat me with respect or we're not going to work with you, you know? And we've also tried to partner up with other women-owned businesses that are subcontractors,
Yeah, that's all.
and so that helps bring a lot of even though that they're not maybe directly out there installing the plumbing, but their staff or the folks that they're bringing already have this mentality of like, I'm not. This is just the way it is. It matters not if it's a man or a woman. What we're doing is a job and a service for a person. And so, I feel like maybe I don't notice it as much, but I think I also don't don't tolerate it. And so
We're just very intentional also with who we work with, and who we partner with. And that's helpful also for our coworkers and our team members like Elizabeth, because we're not out there like soliciting and agreeing to work with someone that doesn't respect women, in our point of view. It's going to happen. Obviously, it's not like we live in a bubble and we're constantly just working with these people that are never ever discriminatory against women, but we are definitely intentional with who we partner with. I would say it's helpful, but you do have that extra hurdle being a woman for sure.
Yeah, yeah, I imagine so. Do you feel that part of it is, I think Michelle was kind of alluding to it, where you just say, "Hey, we're confident in who we are and what we're able to offer," and you kind of get past your own insecurities of thinking, like getting in your own head and going, when Michelle walks on a job site, is she thinking, "Oh God, I'm a woman walking up here. What's this going to go like?" Or do you just kind of remove that negative thinking from your mind and just say, I'm just walking up to a job site and
Well,
you know
daily problems probably a little different. I don't walk onto a job site thinking like anyone's even gonna hit on me, right? Any of the guys there, right? Like that's not. I don't like. I don't think I'm attracting that type of attention. But
That's not the vibe you put on.
that's not the vibe I think I'm putting. I think that it is that. I think that we've gotten to a place where we know what we're doing. We feel confident about what we're doing, and we're not worried about how that person's going to receive it. Right? We're going to treat that person with respect, but it's not my job to manage their feelings. Right?
right.
There's things that sometimes I've noticed, um, a female or a woman will say, and it's the exact same thing, and usually the same way that a man would say it, but uh, it comes off offensive. to our male subcontractor
Or aggressive,
or aggressive.
or like being bossy. I hate that word. Yeah, like like Elizabeth, our construction manager, is a very, strong personality. You have to be. She's very smart. She also has a degree in construction management. So she comes with the background and the education. So that's commendable and respectable from the start. But still, she has to demand that respect as well.
Yeah, it's a lot like, I think for me, I think also I always do keep this in the back of my mind. Although I am saying, hey, you don't have to worry about managing people's feelings. I think that I do use well, I don't know what the word would be, like police my tone in a way. Like I know that but I don't know if that's just because it's male or female. Like I think there's certain people are going to receive things a certain way, and so I'm going to deliver it in a certain way. And I think that as leaders, sometimes that is our job to kind of maybe be emotionally intelligent enough or intuitive enough to understand how that person. It might not have anything to do. It might have to be that that person was under a house for 3 hours and they lost something or something's going on at home. So it's just, you just have to kind of maybe read the room sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I like that. What about homeowners? Have you gotten a really positive feedback from homeowners that just love working with you guys because not only do you have the construction management experience, but as designers, that's you have a background in design, and I kind of think that women are better designers anyways. They're just more creative and just think outside the box a little more, maybe less rigid in their thinking. Do you guys feel that you see that with homeowners that just really love working with you? Maybe have spoken out about that with you and
Yeah,
enjoyed that experience?
I think being a woman and realizing early on that women make the majority of the decisions for the home, in the home, was really, really like eye opening for me. So it's actually been much easier on the design side, and as a design build to be able to relate to the female perspective and to understand that point of view, and having our clientele be kind of the same demographic as myself is also helpful. Like I said before, with having a family, but it is. I mean, most of the designs we're doing are primarily for the family and for the household. And the woman is the one. I mean, it sounds a little bit, yeah, gender biased, but it's still the truth. There's, stereotypes for a reason sometimes. And it is like she's the one that knows how to make it efficient. I can relate. I know how to make my home efficient, and I'm on the same wavelength. And that's where we are sought out a lot of times for that specifically, because we do have a female point of view in the design and the build of the home.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like when we're talking through projects, like one project in particular right now, they're rearranging a mudroom, utility room, that kind of jazz, and suggestions coming from dad are like, well, let's put it here, and mom's like, yeah, but now I have to come down the stairs, go around the corner, go through this room to get the laundry. Those things that like they're not thinking about because they're not responsible.
And as a female designer, I'm able to help that and guide that from the beginning as well. Like, yeah, sure, that window would look really nice, but you probably want to go with the bookshelf there because you have no place for the clutter. You have nowhere to put the kids' books. Like, you know what I mean? That kind of thing, like drop zones and just things that might not be as aesthetically pleasing and might not make it into Architecture Digest, but definitely will improve your quality of life. That's where we shine. And it has been very helpful as far as word of mouth goes and working with clients.
Yeah, and our whole goal, it's not just that. I think it's just the whole process it's extremely overwhelming to remodel. And the reason sometimes people put it off for such a long time is because not only finding the right partner, designing it, permitting it, having it built, then what happens then? I mean, there's all these other steps. People have to move out. They have to find somewhere else to live. And so our goals kind of act as a concierge where we're trying to make it as simplified and easy as possible, where they're able to come to one place and we're able to sympathize and think about these are all the things that you're going to have to do to achieve this and help them through that through this stage in life.
Yeah. And I mean, the drop room can be pretty too. It's not like we're making ugly, ugly spaces. I'm just, it's just more, there is a balance. Like we are living in these homes. We are raising children in these homes. You're at home majority of your life. So It is a place that you want to be efficient and also calming, and a place to rewind, but also be able to put that clutter away. So yeah, and we're not working with mansions, you're talking your regular standard home, average square footage, just making it more efficient and making it just a nicer place to live. And that's what we are all about.
Right, right.
They really are.
I love it. I love it. For maybe younger women starting out or minorities that just don't feel like they have the education or the means or the resources to get to where you are. How would you inspire them, or what would you say to them to help them along in their path and say that, hey, you can do what we've done and be as successful as we've gotten. All you have to do is want it bad enough, or do 1, 2, and 3. Like what are the tips that you would give for younger women or minorities entering into the remodeling world, this male dominated world of construction?
Not just construction, at least, but I think, like, for me, what I would say is that, like, we shouldn't worry or think about, is there a seat for me here? Is there a place for me? You should make that place. You should just, like, walk on in and say, this is what I'm going to do. And then I think it's been helpful. Other people, what other women have done is that get in this space, and then let's bring the other women in with us.
Yeah, just because your candle shines bright doesn't dim mine, like the mentoring. Most people are very happy and willing to help and guide. We have a mentor. It's been very, very valuable. I would say invaluable for us as we've grown. I mean, the amount of mistakes we've made far surpass the amount of successes. And that's what you mentor on, like here's what I've learned, I don't have I have a degree in business and fashion.
And I have no degree.
So we're not formally trained. We're,
Our education has been very expensive, though, learning
True.
this industry. But to answer your question, I think that you can do it if you want to do it. It's not, you just have to understand it's not going to be fun. It's going to be hard. You are going to have men, especially, that make you feel that you don't belong. But you have, just like, I mean, it's like anything else in life. You just have to kind of look past it and say, I belong here. I deserve a spot at the table, and then sit.
Earn that spot at the table then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Earn the spot.
I think that's, for us, what's gotten us to where we're at, is that when we're at a site now, we know what we're doing. We know what we're saying. People understand, and subcontractors immediately can sense that, but when we first started, I was also very open with people, and I said, I don't know this, and that's okay. I don't know this. Help me learn this. This is what I want to do. How do I get there? And it was just through those partnerships of people also helping me learn that kind of, I think, encouraged us to keep going. Because I think that if you try to show up and you're embarrassed to say, oh, or you pretend, it's just not going to work. And it's what we do for a living, it's going to be very obvious that you don't.
Yeah, not so much the world of fake it till you make it, because you can't really fake construction management. You have to know what you're doing, and you have to be safe in what you're building.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, too, I think that's a really good point you just made right now. What we do is project management, right? Project management is project management is project management, right? You don't necessarily you don't need to know how to engineer something initially, but you need to know what are all the steps I need to execute in order to properly engineer something. So I think that, like, if you have that background also, then you can be successful. It's going to be just a very detail oriented person.
And also, even now, I mean, if you make a mistake, you're going to, right? The amount of mistakes we've made, it's not necessarily the mistake that I think ruins relationships with clients and contractors. It is the acknowledgement and the fixing of that mistake and saying, oh, I messed up here, right? We've done many things wrong. I've designed things where do a walkthrough and I'm like, ooh, crap, that was a bad idea. Like, let's figure this out. Let's redo it. Let's tweak some things. Michelle, I know, there's a million things that she's done. She could probably list an entire, book right now, no offense. But it's the acknowledgement and what you do after that mistake, and that is, I think, what sets set you apart, and what sets us apart at least, is that we're willing to acknowledge and say we don't know everything. We're never going to know everything. The older I get, the more I know. That's true, but I still don't know everything. I'm learning. We just completely made a huge change internally because we're working. We're doing some GC projects with some really good designers right now, and they're doing very high end luxury um, spaces, and seeing how they did things. We were like, huh. Okay, I see what you're doing. And I think that we could even make our process better. Let's incorporate this and let's incorporate that. And let's not take criticism so defensively and act like it's, a stain on our reputation. It's more just, it's not. It's just someone doing something a little better.
Yeah, I'm thankful that people sometimes take the time to criticize me because I don't know I'm doing something wrong unless someone lets me know.
Yeah.
Right. Being able to take ownership of it then.
All that to say ownership.
Also about construction and building homes is we're not heart surgeons, right? So you can fix anything and everything you do. That's, I think, the best part, right? Like, can you build whatever someone wants? Sure. Can you fix whatever you mess up? You can't, And so I think that that's also really helpful. There's always a way out, and there's always a way to fix something, redesign it, reconstruct it, because if you're going to make mistakes, and it's okay. It's just how you react and fix those.
Yeah.
And your openness with it too.
Kind of goes back to that saying, it's not about what happens to you in life. It's about how you respond to what happens to you. So if you make that mistake or think you could have done something better, do you own it? Do you fix it? Do you find a better way? Or do you act like it didn't happen and let's just like push this under the rug? And, that's not the response that homeowners want to see, or the, the employees of yours or subs, anyone, they want to see that you take ownership and will make things right and are doing things the right way. That's where you are in that respect.
Yeah, that trust. Years ago, we hired somebody, and we were doing a walkthrough or whatever, and Chris and I were pointing out certain things, and the team member asked, why are we going to bring this up? The client hasn't brought it up, and we're like, it's not their job, first of all, to bring it up, and if we know it's not right, then we're the ones that need to make sure it's fixed. So I think it's it's just attitude.
I think yesterday we're working on an outdoor shower that was designed to be very, very narrow. That's the plans. It was agreed upon. It was spec'd out. It was blue taped and stood in to make sure it worked. And the client said, hey, it just got built, and I just feel now that I'm in it, it's really, really, really narrow, and I just don't like it. Like, the amount of work to redo everything is pretty decently, a pretty decent amount of work. But we go over there, Michelle goes inside, and she's like, you know what? You're right. It feels smaller than it should. It didn't seem this way when we all talked about it and designed it, and it is what it is. Let's figure out a way, instead of going and saying, I don't care, you approved these plans, you approved all the steps to do this, and we're done. We have to move on. We have deadlines, and it is what it is. It's just a different mindset. You can't do it for every little thing, obviously, with a client. It becomes a little ridiculous, but those kind of things, I think, are what sets us apart. The willingness to say, you know what, let me see your point of view. Let me see what we can do about this.
Right. I like that. I like that you guys put that out there. You're being proactive instead of reactive, just getting out in front of it. And, I think homeowners really appreciate that. That's why you guys have gained the reputation that you have in the industry, by being those kind of that kind of a business owner, that will take ownership and get out ahead of things and say, you know what, we can do better. Let's make this right. And like you said, it can't be every little nitpicking thing, but what things might need, some adjustment or some realignment or reconfiguration, and then what things you can just be like, they could live with that. That's just part of the job, part of the remodel.
Yeah. I'm not changing your entire trim color to a shade lighter because you don't like it in a certain light. Obviously there's some,
Yeah, you have to draw a line somewhere. Yeah, otherwise cost overruns start to hurt.
Laying on the floor to look at how the flooring was installed, so there was micro imperfections that you could see if you lay on the floor and look at it from that angle. But your cheeks pretty on and up, like, gosh, man, like that's just it's not, you're not meant to
actually learn like a standard where it is a 3 foot, because we contacted the manufacturer and they were like, there's a 3-foot like standard of imperfections. And I was like, that is so interesting. That's what they say about, your face and your makeup, like, pimples or pores. If you can't see it a certain distance away, like, please don't mess with it. That's just not, it's not something that needs to be perfect at that angle. Same thing for a lot of materials.
Ironically enough, Kristen makes a lot of comparisons
I
to makeup.
Because it makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, it makes sense, especially in the female world.
I basically dress up homes and put makeup on them. But
What a living, right? It's unfair. So, what's ahead for Remodel Boutique there in Austin? What do you guys have any goals? Any opportunities or projects coming up that you're really excited about?
I think we're excited about every project. I think that, every project we start is very exciting for us because it is life changing for the person that you're doing it for. Um, but I think that at least I'm very excited about continuing to improve our processes and incorporating AI into it. I'm just like every time one of the team members brings something up, I'm like, our receipts are automatically being entered and sorted, and so I think that just freeing everybody up to do more of what they do best is what we're hoping.
yeah, I mean, yeah, we've always like wanted to scale and then realize we're working too much, in the business to work on it. And we're really, really trying to focus on working on the business now and really, really honing, our processes, our SOPs, our procedures, our software, our project management, incorporating AI, having everything meshed together. Really, really, really trying to get that solidified. So then Michelle and I can kind of take a step back and work more on the business and scale and maybe even, expand, to different cities. That's kind of what we're wanting for the next chapter. I don't want to, have a business where when I die, it's just gone. That's not really the point. I don't, I'd rather work for someone else and get an easier salary and not
Our son said I think he's not interested in working in a company after all, that he's going to hula hoop. So I think we're maybe not there. We have to come to the terms with that. That's not gonna.
He doesn't realize that your office not only has ping pong and a beer fridge, but you got hula hoops too?
no, it's just not something I just wanted to die. You work hard at it, and as the decades add up, you're like, wow, I've worked my entire life in the business and on this business, and I don't want it to be nothing when I leave.
Have a legacy to leave behind.
Be
For
nice.
sure. It would be nice.
Yeah, well, that sounds great. I'm excited for you guys. Any final words of inspiration for anyone looking to get into the business, or any success tips that you want to throw out before we wrap up here?
No, I do want to encourage people, though. I think that it's important for young women that are looking, minorities, in any way, whether you're, gay or Hispanic or whatever it is that you are. Homeowners will embrace you and accept you and work through you if you know what you're doing. I think you should be less self-conscious about what do we look like on the outside, and more about what it is that we're capable of. Um, because the homeowners out there looking for someone like us exist, and there's so many of them. So I think that there should be, I'm not probably not articulating that properly, but just comfortable in entering this world.
Yeah, I guess like when we were talking also about entering, and starting, and I was in my early 20s when I wanted to do this, right? My expertise level was definitely not at the level that I'm at right now, right? So I think like, yeah, sure, like if I was to listen to this and yeah, awesome, I'll go with my knowledge, and which is nothing, but having confidence and having a hard work ethic and just going out there and trying things and not getting jobs that are too big for you at the time, learning a little bit as you grow, I look back at some of the stuff we did and I was like, whoa, that was a long time ago. But my budgets are different now. My clientele is different now. The houses are a little bigger. And, things are a little bit more complicated, but we know how to do it. We weren't there at the beginning at all. So just start, just do it. And it'll eventually come if you work hard and you learn from your mistakes and you get, a mentor and you learn from others. So yeah, that's what I would say. I was talking to my younger self.
I remember when we first started, you're doing like window jobs or paint jobs, things you're just not like, like super excited and going to a home tour, one of the NARI home tours. We were going through these homes and looking at all these people that we thought were like so amazing. And then a couple of years ago, us being on the home tour finally, and it was just like a surreal moment for us for me to be like, wow, we're on this home tour with these builders that we used to walk through their homes and think like, oh my God, one day. And one day is here, but it took a minute to get here, but it is possible.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned NARI too. You're part of NARI at Austin there, the National Association of the Remodeling Industry.
Yeah, we are.
Okay, great organization. You guys feel that's been a big boom to your business, and you guys are learning a lot from them.
Yeah, that's how we got our mentor.
It adds a lot of credibility too. I think people see that, hey, look, these folks have won multiple local, regional, and national awards. And they're part of other people that we even look up to, other builders. And so for us to be a part of that group, I think has added a lot of credibility to our business.
And that is a really good point also. Join those type of things. You don't have to have credentials. You don't have to even know what you're doing or have a good portfolio. You don't have to have anything. You can join, you can go, you can learn. I mean, being a sponge, especially for two not formally trained people in this industry at all, soaking up every last drop of what anyone could give to me was invaluable. And that's what I would also, NARI is a great resource. They have tons of networking events, even just standing around talking to people, like even now, it just makes you feel like you're not alone and people have the same issues and obstacles and how are you handling it? Then you're like, oh, I'm not that bad. Like, I'm not like that crazy. And this is hard for everyone. And, it makes that sense of community much, much easier, I guess, to do your business.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, you've learned so much. You have a mentor that you can turn to. There's several mentors, just showing up. You can ask anyone any question. You can hear the topics they're teaching on, guest speakers that they have come in. So much to learn. If someone wanted to reach out to you, whether it be a homeowner that is looking for two very talented young ladies to do a remodel for them, or if someone maybe is looking for a mentor, how would they contact you there at Remodel Boutique?
I think directly they can either go to our Instagram page or our website, right, at www.remodelb.com.
Yep, we just remodelb.com, remodelboutique.com, howdy at Remodel.
Yeah, I don't know if we're going to come up if we put up two really good looking construction women that are hilarious. I don't know if that search will work.
I can solve that for you. If you want you want to rank for that keyword, two beautiful and funny women that rock at remodeling in Austin. We can dominate for that keyword.
SEO. Yeah, I don't think that investment, but
might not be a lot of searches for it though. Well, ladies, thank you so much for coming on the podcast today. You guys have been wonderful. Some really great insights and more importantly, some real good inspiration too. I mean, just listening to you and listening to your humble beginnings to where you are now, still humble, but just learning and getting better has been inspirational for me listening to you. So thank you so much for coming on the show today. I really appreciate having you guys.
And thank you, Bob. Thank you for giving businesses like us the opportunity to share our story.
Yeah, really.
Awesome. All right, ladies, well, I'll look forward to talking to you guys again. For everyone else tuning in to the Home Remodeler Toolbox, thanks for tuning in. Hopefully you got some great value out of it, and we will see you guys on the next episode. Everyone take care and have a good rest of your day. Thanks.
Hey, if you liked our podcast, join the remodeling community and hit subscribe. We would love to hear from you. So be sure to share your thoughts on what you might want to hear about in future episodes. If you're ready to take your business to the next level, visit homeremodellerseo.com and check out our services that can help build your foundation for success. Thanks for tuning in to the Home Remodeler Toolbox Podcast, and we'll see you on the next episode.